Hi there, I'm Alex D, and today's video is going to be kinda historical, maybe even a bit political, but anyway, it's about the history of the AK and, well, how it all culminated into, well, this whole AK-12 debacle. And this image pretty much says it's all, and if you don't see where I'm heading already, I will give you a bit of a backstory. Well, it all started, well, in the good old days of World War II, also known as the Great Patriotic War, because, the Soviet Union did not take part in the World War II. It actually had its own war with blackjack and hookers, because, well, if you ask any Russian what was the Soviet Union doing when the World War II was already up and running, and it was 1939, and the Soviet Union only entered the war in 1941. And if you ask any Russian what was the Soviet Union doing during these 2 years, like 39 and 40, no, it definitely had nothing to do with, invading Poland alongside Nazi Germany and everything like that. Anyway, well, during the war, uh, the Germans kinda in 42 already experimented with what was later called an intermediary round, which will be known as the assault rifle round kind of thing. And of course, this got the attention of the Soviet engineers and everyone else. And well, it the experiments on this kind of thing kind of date all the way back to, well, 1918 probably, when Fedorov Automat was developed, which is like the first assault rifle ever, which used a kind of weaker rifle cartridge, but, well, and it was fully automatic. Wasn't too widely produced, but was actually used during the Winter War with the Finland, and I think so, at least, if I'm not messing anything up. Okay, this is not what we are here for. We are here for the AK. And, well, the intermediate cartridge, as you can see, 762, well, it was later reduced to 762 on 39, but it started at 41 apparently. Anyway, you can already see this is kinda, well, like the Sturmgewehr from Germany, but Soviet made, kinda. This looks like a Tokarev rifle, which has a pistol grip and a longer magazine and a smaller chamber and all that. Well, this one is AK-46, which is Kalashnikov's first experimental model. Uh, yeah, it does look kind of ugly, very Soviet, but anyway, the point is, well, when the contest on all these things took place, well, Kalashnikov's model wasn't perfect, but it was the best they had at the moment. So they kind of decided, hey, let's take some cues from the other assault rifles models and make this. This is what they call AK-47. This is the experimental model of 1947. It notably has a longer handguard, which protrudes. Well, the lower part of it is longer than the upper parts. Well, as well as some different designs here and there, but the basic design is already pretty much finished. but it wouldn't be until 1949 when the rifle would be officially adopted as the AK. You know, just AK, not 47, because this is the model of 49, and it's not AK-49. It's not known as that. My theory is like, well, I don't know, some kind of Western spies or whatever. They were like, oh, you know what? They developed an AK-47, and they're going to be all right with this amazing rifle, and we are done for, basically. Holy shit, they developed an awesome assault rifle, and it's called AK-47. Holy shit. And the name stuck. The name kinda stuck, even though it has, well, not much to do with 47. The rifle was adopted as just Automat Kalashnikova, which is Kalashnikov assault rifle, kinda. No year designation and nothing like that, but anyway, there's been several types of receivers. Well, this one is stamped, early stamped receiver, which didn't last too long. This is already a milled one, and well, there is no type 2. Oh, I think this is the type 2 because of this stock mounting bracket. Whatever. Anyway, what we know as the AK-47 is usually the Type 3 milled receiver, like this one. This huge rectangular indent, I don't know, is a good indicator that this is a milled receiver, an old type of receiver. It's heavier, it's pretty much sturdier, but it's heavier, yeah. So in 1959, I think. Yeah, in 1959, 10 years later, the AKM was adopted. It got a it got a stamped receiver, a redesigned. Well, it got a pretty much a compensator. It's not a muzzle brake. It's just a compensator. Well, I don't know how to describe it, but anyway. Well, these pictures are kind of. Anyway, this is, well, the milled receiver. Yeah. This is type 1, type 2 with these stock bracket kind of thing, and type 3, which is the most common one of these three. This is the AK-47 prototype. This is the type 1. This is something you would see in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. It's kind of mismodeled, but anyway, this is something we would later see on the Saiga family of rifles and shotguns. Well, at least the shotguns, as I'm not sure if the rifles also have that. Anyway, this is also the prototype, I think, or maybe it's something else. I don't remember. It's been a while since the last I crawled around my picture vault. Anyway, the AKM has a stamped receiver which has a much smaller indent. It's much lighter. It has this slanted compensator, and well, I'm not sure about the bakelite, I don't know, plastic kind of thing magazines, but it also takes steel and all that because they are interchangeable. And well, oh, this is also a suppressed grenade launcher, but we're not here for that. It also had a variant with a folding stock, which looks like an MP40 underfolder, and well, it was replaced in the later models with a side folder like this one. More about that later. Anyway, This is a milled receiver, and if it this is a stamped receiver. I keep messing that up. If it was a milled receiver, it would have a giant rectangular indent, but stamped receivers have this kind of thing. What else? Okay, this is the AKML, I think, which protects the night scope from the muzzle flash. I think, I don't remember, but anyway. Speaking of interchangeable mags, it also can take RPK drums, because of course it does. And this is the night scope, and this is the flash hider, which protects this giant bulky ass thing from the muzzle flash. Wow, that's a lot of AKM pictures I have. Anyway, well, in year 74, for a multitude of reasons, the caliber was decreased drastically from 7.62, because everything had 7.62 at that time, rifles, pistols, assault rifles as well, and then they decided that it's kind of overpowered, really heavy, and well, the Americans have their M16 rifles with a much lighter ammunition, and it's still as effective as this heavy ass one. But anyway, in 1974 this model was adopted. It already got a nice big muzzle brake and well a different caliber 5.45, and the underfolding stock was replaced with a side folder, a skeletal type of side folder. And well, when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Russia pretty much well, some later models got the wooden parts replaced with the polymer. It was plum colored. Some models, I guess, were already black, but in 1991, the AK-74M, M is for modernized. Well, this looks like a solid stock, but it's actually a folder. As you can see on this image, it has a hinge, and this rectangular cutout is for the scope mount, which is always present on the 74M. And well, it's full black, magazines and all. And this is how it looks like when it's folded. And pretty much around the same time, the 100 series AKs were developed, which included a shorter barrel version, and I think I should just go there, because different calibers, like the same good old 7.62 and shorter barreled versions and all that. Well, it was around 90s, I think. Yeah. And well, we're getting close to what I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about in 2008, 2009. Well, basically when Picatinny rails were a normal thing and pretty much a necessity. Well, there were modifications to the original AK-74M or not, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, it's pretty much the same rifle with the, tactical furniture, which is something you would see in, I don't know, Modern Warfare games and all that. Picatinny rails, grips, fancy ass magazines, ergonomic grips, Picatinny rails everywhere, and this thing, as you probably know, well, how the AK selector looks like. It's this somewhat unwieldy but effective at what it is lever, which protects this cutout, which acts as a dust cover. When it's up there, you can't move the bolt, and you need to slide it down to this is full automatic, and the lowest is semi-auto. Well, I don't know. It's probably a good idea to, well, if you quickly and forcefully turn it all the way down, you get semi-automatic fire and not really expend all your ammunition in the event of panic attack or something. Maybe that was the rationale. Anyway, in order to move this thing, it is nowhere to be seen on the left side of the rifle, because on the left side of the rifle there is a scope mount, a dovetail type, and there is nothing for your thumb to activate. You actually need to move your hand and grab this thing and lower it to the position you desire. And well, this rifle is kinda built around being controlled and reloaded with the right hand, because there is no ejection port or bolt handle on this side. It's all there, so you basically keep your non-firing arm on the handguard, and remove the magazine, slap another one in with your right hand, and pull the bolt. There is no bolt catch, because why the fuck would a rifle need a bolt catch? Anyway, this is pretty much a right-handed rifle, and if you're a lefty, well, that's fine too, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a lefty, so I can't really tell if shell ejection is a problem or something. Anyway, what we see here is something we could have seen, the company Krebs AK safety lever. Yep, and we are going to see that right now. It has this shelf for your trigger finger to move it. So I don't know. Imagine well, having your trigger finger there and then moving it over there and kind of pulling it down precisely to this position. I don't know however this can be ergonomic, but well, maybe it's fine when you only have one firing mode, which is, semi-automatic for Saigas and civilian rifles, but we'll talk about that later. But this rifle will pretty much have 3 firing modes: full automatic, burst, and semi-automatic, and of course the safe mode, which is not really a firing mode, but anyway, that's something to note. So yep, that's pretty much a Krebs style safety lever, but without the cutout for the bolt hold open. Well, this one. Anyway, that's not a novelty really, but well, as you can see, stamped receiver, right? All those familiar rivets, pins and all that, fold in stock, which is a telescopic one. Speaking of a telescopic stock, well, this rifle is a perfect regular rifle in every way imaginable except one. It doesn't have any customizability whatsoever. So if you have short hands, good luck with this stock, which can't be regulated, well, retracted or collapsed. Anyway, uh, there is no option to, well, have something extra or maybe remove a part of the stock to make it shorter or anything like that. It's uniform. And if you are shorty, well, fuck you. You should have been born something larger. And well, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my only complaint about the rifle, because it's perfect in every other way. It's simple. It's so simple you can disassemble and reassemble it with your eyes closed. Basically, it's done in like 8 seconds or something like that. It does its job. It works under unpleasant conditions as well. As long as you keep it clean, of course, because there is absolutely no reason to, dump it into a mud pile and think it's gonna be okay. No, you gotta clean your rifle, even if it's a Kalashnikov. You just gotta do it. Uh, anyway, it has sides. Well, it has a cleaning rod here. It has a cleaning kit in the stock. Well, it's simple. It has two firing modes: full automatic and semi-automatic. It fires at a slow rate at 600 rounds per minute cyclic rate, uh, which means, well, it's pretty controllable, slow firing weapon, and it's amazingly well enough. It's surprisingly accurate. In the semi-automatic mode, at least, you can actually strike targets at like 400 meters. I've hit some, and this is pretty much a pleasant rifle to fire. Except, the stock, especially in winter when you wear, I don't know, bushlat, winter coat type of thing, and it makes you even fatter, and well, your hands even shorter. You just can't adjust. Yeah, adjust. This is the word I was looking for. You cannot adjust this stock. You're stuck with what you have, and well, this is rather unpleasant. I would gladly have this kind of stock over this solid type of stock. And this also can be folded. We'll see that later. Probably. I probably have some pictures of that. Uh, anyway, well, it also has the, mounting bracket for the scopes, but you don't get the scopes. Army is not like video games when you can attach a red dot sight and a cog scope, a holographic sight, and whatever else, up to and including IR scopes or thermal sights. Yeah, well, it's there. It's useless, but it's just for uniformity, I guess. Well, it's fine. It's cheaper to just make identical rifles for everyone who needs a night sight or a scope or whatever, as opposed to, like, have several models for AK-74, which this is a folding stock version, and this is also a scope mount version, which is its own model variant, basically. AKS-74N. N is for night sight. In this case, this is a PSO 4 times magnification scope, but whatever. This also has a night sight mount. This one doesn't. This one does not have a scope mount in there. And these are two models already. And there is also the AK-74, which just has a wooden solid stock, which does not fold. And there also is a model of this which has a night sight mount. So That's 4 models already, and in 1991, well, they kind of just dropped all models altogether in favor of a folding stock model with a scope mount. So that's simpler, that's much simplified, and this stock has, well, it's folding and it's solid, kinda. Well, it has best of both worlds, except, you know, it's not adjustable, unfortunately. There is no option for that, and that's unfortunate. Well, anyway, then there is also the shortened model, you know, this piece of shit. Well, somebody thought that it would be a great idea to take a completely perfect rifle, chop its barrel in half or even more, and give it to, you know, tankers and all sorts of crews that need a compact but reliable and, I don't know, deadly weapon. But you know, when you shorten the barrel this much, it basically loses all pretense of accuracy, energy, muzzle energy, velocity, and all that. It makes the assault rifle like a submachine gun without any benefits of the submachine gun, because, you know, the ammunition is still the assault rifle ammunition. It's still heavy, it's still bulky. It takes up precious space when you need to enter the tank through a rather small uh, trapdoor. Yeah, maybe that's trapdoor supposed to be. Anyway, well, and the sides of this thing are, it has two settings. One of them, maybe I have a picture of that. Probably not. Probably not. Okay, I don't. Anyway, this thing has two settings. One of them has a letter P, which means constant, kinda. It's just basic setting for they are inside, and I think it can also mean straight shot kind of thing. And the second setting is 4. I think it says 4 or maybe 2-4 or something like that. Anyway, it means this rifle pretty much has an effective range of 400 meters. Anything beneath, well, anything farther than that, I'm not sure which word I should use here, just can't be hit. Long story short, this thing cannot hit a broadside of the barn. It also, well, causes as much damage as a submachine gun, but it's still kind of bulky. It has heavy ammunition, which is underpowered in this short barrel, and it's pretty much a completely useless rifle, especially for tankers. I mean, have you seen what? Well, is it pistols or submachine gun? It's probably submachine. Oh yeah. Well, this is what tankers of the Czech Republic have. You know, Scorpion. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it's probably not Scorpion, but Scorpion. Anyway, well, yeah, you basically have a small machine pistol with a folding stock, no less, and it's fully automatic, and it has like 20 round magazines and 10 round magazines, but it fits in a pistol holster. It's rather small, and it has light ammunition. Well, it's also weak as hell, but, well, this is a personal defense weapon, which doesn't have to be a freaking assault rifle with its barrel chopped off. So yeah. Anyway, where was I? I was deriding the AKS-74U. It's shit. That's all I have to say. Oh, I have pictures of the AK-12 200 series, by the way. These ones. Oh, and these, you know, Krebs style safety lever, and the shotgun barrel as well, because you know this is basically an evolution of the 100 series called the 200 series. And now we're getting to the most interesting part. I don't know why this is, well, this is something else, but okay. This is AK-400, but we'll get to that. We'll fucking get to that, and we'll get to that anyway. So this was year 2008, 2009. So let's take a break and fast forward to 2012. Well, rather 2013, because that's when the first pictures became appearing, and it looked like this. Well, the first pictures looked like this. You've probably seen this picture before. It had a ton of photoshopped, or rather sloppy Photoshop variants, like, you know, the shotgun version, the sniper rifle, the machine gun, and all that. And this, well, doesn't look too great, but that's what we had back then. And you know, everyone was like, "Wow, they developed a new AK rifle and it looks awesome. Let's model it and put in our video games like Call of Duty Ghosts, Battlefield, I think 4, Killing Floor 2." This model has been everywhere, basically. And a funny thing about this particular specimen is that it has a somewhat ridiculous fire selector. Speaking of which, it can actually be activated with your thumb, which is a nice feature, of course. That's ergonomic as fuck. Anyway, pair is safe, or is single fire, 3 is, you know, 3 round burst, and A is fully automatic. The problem is 3 looks like Z, which makes this look like poza, which is pose in Russian. Well, it's kind of awkward to have, you know, your rifle say poza on its side. And well, there were jokes about this is the sexiest AK I have ever seen, even though this particular specimen looks ugly as sin. Anyway, what's left to do for a video game designer is, you know, add some refinements like this. And it's perfect. It's ready to ship. It's a game that will win players' hearts. Anyway, so this rifle has seen a lot. Well, everyone has seen this part. Oh my god. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that right now. As you can see, this looks kind of off, and I will tell you why. Let's Google it right now. It's a Beretta RX. Yep, that's what it is. Let me just take a nicer picture of that. Note the fire selector, the handguard design, and let's get back to this picture. The handguard design, the selector. I don't know why, I don't know how. Somebody photoshopped an ARX 160 receiver onto an AK-12, And then somehow this this picture ended up in a Russian newspaper, which is Arguments and Facts, and it's still there. And it's, well, this is Russian news, everyone. I don't know, why didn't you just, take this picture? It looks nothing like this. How? I don't know. It's just missing the front side because, it has a backup RN sides from the photoshopped Beretta receiver. And this is just, oh my god. I was thinking about, taking a Beretta model from Call of Duty Ghost and mashing it onto an AK-12. Maybe someday I would successfully make that. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's so bad, man. Anyway, let's continue our travel through history. On the other side, it says Azov, which is pose in reverse. Anyway, what this thing has is a selector on both sides, a charging handle. Well, it was moved in front of the actual ejection port because, it used to be right at the beginning of the ejection port and now it's in front of it. Well, it would be changed later, but anyway. Also, well, not mentioning the Picatinny rails. By the way, Picatinny rails. This prototype image has this. I don't know. Well, it's kind of hilarious. It's very small. You'd think somebody would mount a laser sight or, I don't know, a flashlight. But then again, we have a small rail piece here, so why would these be necessary? Anyway, as you can see, this particular specimen and this one and pretty much everybody else doesn't have that. Oh, this one still has the small rail part. Later the POSA selector was changed into, well, these are numbers, these are letters, and it doesn't mean anything sexual anymore, but it's still written in, I don't know, correction fluid. Well, that's a prototype, but anyway, that's a paddling, seriously. And well, it's fully ambidextrous. It also has a bolt catch. The AK finally, after, Romanians did it with their PSL marksman rifle, the AK finally got a bolt catch, which locks the bolt open when the last round in the magazine has been extracted. The last shell is extracted and the bolt remains in the locked back position, so that you replace the magazine and then press this button. Do I have a... well, this button. I suppose this is the bolt catch button, bolt release. You press that, the bolt goes forward and you're ready for action again, which is a nice feature. And except, for this to work, they actually had to, well, this is the classic magazine, and this is also the same. This is the magazine we see in the numerous video games, because this is the magazine which has a special follower which locks open the bolt, which moves the bolt catch, and it locks the bolt open. So it looks different, but it's interchangeable again, except when using the classic magazines, the bolt catch won't engage, so you'll have to pull the bolt manually to chamber your weapon after changing the magazine. Anyway, this is the model of 2012. or 2013. This is the model that is the most well-known of those. Next up, we have a pretty pretty large improvement. As you can already see, this has the bolt handle moved back again, but it doesn't, reciprocate there, and there is no opening for that. It's actually, you'll see a picture later, it moves here, but there is no opening. There is no opening, so there is no need for a dust cover. And well, what else? It got a slight redesign. It got a new grip, different stock, different handguard. It still has the same familiar AK-74 style gas block and everything, but well, the most notable change is probably the magazine release design, which if I have a, oh my god, this is a bad picture. Oh, and it got a funkier looking muzzle brake. And well, yeah, this is a nice picture of the magazine release. As you can see, it's extended so that you can pretty much depress it with your firing finger. There is also the magazine kicker. When you engage that, this small thing, which is spring-loaded, it's going to kind of kick out the magazine. Like, very tactical, dropping magazines on the ground and all that. But, well, it's an extended magazine release. I mean, look at this. This is a completely normal magazine release. And this is still kind of normal. And this one is extended. You can press it pretty much with anything, including your head, maybe, because of how large it is. And this part, this small flipper, I don't know, this is now the bolt release. So you insert in your magazine and reach out with your thumb over here, and the bolt flies forward. Hooray, you're back in action. Also, the fire selector has been redesigned into this. Look, this is just terrible. I don't know how you're supposed to know what. There is no pointer or anything. It's so unintuitive. It's so messed up. Jesus, somebody thought that would be a good idea because several of those were made prototypes. This one doesn't even have any markings, so the selector markings were probably an afterthought. But I don't know. This is just bad. Okay, that's a prototype, so that's fine. Well, a different grip, a different stock. Well, this thing got redesigned, a new handguard, and this is pretty much the same as before. Still the stamped receiver, but it's a different receiver. I mean, well, look at how the trigger looks here, the trigger guard, and everything. It's different from what we are used to see. And the rivets and pins locations on these are different. So yeah, that we could say that's a different rifle. It's still kind of the same, but there are differences. And this round thing appears to be the stock catch. When you fold it, it kind of this part latches onto this one, and well, there is probably a button inside there. Like, I didn't draw this because this is probably 92 model as opposed to 93 model, which has a button which really sticks out. Anyway, so That's I'm not sure about the years anymore, but I was pretty sure this was 2014, and this was the first time we got, well, not photoshops, but maybe it was mock-ups. But anyway, we already seen the rifles with the 7.62 magazines as opposed to just photoshopped images. By the way, this is a shortened barrel version, you know, carbine, and well, this is also, well, this is probably a mock-up because you can't be sure with Russian firearms. They just kinda show up every now and then go nowhere. It's like they just, you know, make these to fill the museums with some fancy ass looking firearms which probably were never put into production. Anyway, I was talking about the this is this disassembled one. Look how the bolt handle looks like. It actually, well, it's kind of funny, but it eliminates the need for a cut in the receiver cover. It slides into there, in here, and it doesn't actually, well, you know, necessitate a cut in there, which is nice, I guess. Still, this is a large improvement. I mean, the extended magazine release, and well, if only not for you know, the selector markings, this would be a great improvement. Also, the grip, the much thicker grip than we are used to seeing on the classic AKs. It has a cleaning kit inside, as opposed to having it in the stock, because you know the stock is now both folding and retractable. I guess that was the rationale, but okay. And this is the cleaning rod. It's no longer, you know, sticking out in there. It's now two-part. It's not a novelty. Several Russian firearms and not Russian firearms used a cleaning rod made from several pieces. And the next year, 2015, had probably the best of them all, which even made it into an airsoft. Oh my god, look at this. This is like the Russian EOTech. It's glorious. It's big like Mother Russia. Holy shit. Anyway, as you can already see, the selector markings were redesigned. There is actually a pointy pointer which points up to these markings. It still has the 3-round burst. Oh, maybe it already has a 2-round burst. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, it already has a 2-round burst, which allegedly, well, I can't know for sure. You can't know for sure with Russians. Allegedly, it has a higher cyclic rate than the fully automatic, and it still has a 2-round setting in there. But as we've talked about earlier, this one has 3-round bursts. So I don't know. I would rather not have it at all. But anyway. And the most notable change about that is the redesign of the, well, the gas system is probably still the same, but the front sight was finally moved from there to the gas block. Kinda like the carbine versions. Maybe, and most likely for unification reasons. It's basically the same as the previous version, including the moved backwards, well, the charging handle, which slides into there. Still the same position of rivets and everything, still the same grip. The extended magazine release was slightly redesigned. It's slightly larger now, but mostly the same. The magazines, I don't know. Every image of this gun has the same classic magazines from the AK-74, but I'm not sure if they managed to make them actually push the bolt catch so that the bolt locks open with these magazines, because I don't see any image of this rifle with a different magazine. Oh, and this is the airsoft version, the kind of official airsoft version. The selector markings are kind of messed up in there. Yeah, and there is no selector markings in there whatsoever. And this is also an airsoft version. This is also an airsoft version. And well, for some reason, the safe marking appears to be red, while the firing markings appears to be white. What? What kind of logic is that? Anyway, this would have been a, well, at least from ergonomic sense, a perfectly fine. This is also airsoft, apparently, as it has the same messed up markings, but we can't tell for sure because, you know, prototypes and everything. This would have been a completely fine, perfect in an ergonomic sense weapon, because it, you know, it has all those Picatinny rails. And by the way, speaking of Picatinny rails, which don't have any covers on them, well, the first version kinda lacks those, because, you know, it has one on top, one below, and a small one on the sides. The next version, I think, no, it's also fine. As you can see, there are, you know, mounts for additional rails, apparently, which can be removed, but, you know, you've probably seen Galil Ace, and it has, you know, rail covers by default. And if you don't want rail covers on your Galil, you just remove them, but they are here by default in case you don't need rails. I can't find a picture of it. Oh, here it is. Here how it looks like with the rail covers removed. There are rails, even a place for, you know, your tactical button to go and whatever. But, you know, the AK-12 has none of that. It just has removable rails and completely solid rails here and there, which don't go anywhere, but your hand, when you grasp it without a glove, it's gonna be brutal, especially when you fire in it. Well, it probably kinda necessitates using a vertical grip or something like that, because, well, I don't know, I can't be sure. And this one, well, it's pretty much the same, but I think you can now place a rail on top over here and or below, or maybe both. Unfortunately, there's not much pictures of that, to be sure, but it looks promising anyway. And well, now we closing in on what I was going to talk about. This is the so-called final model. And can you tell me, why could we have seen that before? This is year 2016. These, you know, receiver pins and rivets, count them. The trigger guard, the trigger and the magazine release, where could we have seen that? Oh, is that our familiar AK-74 receiver? Can it be? No way. Also, this thing should actually be called AK-400 because, you know, we have seen that here. Notice the stock design. Okay, this picture is lying. This picture is lying. These don't. This is the final version. Just look at it. Just fucking look at it. This is the magazine. We will talk about that later. Just. Uh, the stock is the same. Same grip, but well, we've pretty much seen this grip somewhere else before. But anyway, that's a different grip, by the way. Slightly. Maybe it's the same. It doesn't matter. What matters is the same trigger guard, the same magazine release, the same fucking receiver. And what changed from the, you know, the handguard design, the top cover design, as opposed to just having this classic tangent or whatever it's called type of sight. They got this kind of sight from the AK-12 models. Yeah, this very sight. It's now here. Yep, it's the same sight, and it's now on our latest model. And this sight was eliminated, and a nasty seam weld was added here because yes, we love welding seams. Anyway, those familiar rivets and pins, this familiar fucking stamped receiver, this fucking magazine release, and everything else. What changed is, you know, this thing. The front sight was moved to the gas block. Why have we seen that before? Yeah. Here we have a classic one. Here we have a somewhat classic looking one. And it was changed there. And of course, AK-200 moved it there. Changed the handguard design, changed the top cover design. And the muzzle brake design? Yeah, it changed the muzzle brake design. Wow, that's its folded stock. The Krebs safety lever. You know what? This is the model featured in Payday 2. The small rail over here. And you know what? This is year 2015, and these ergonomics, the extended magazine release, the ambidextrous thumb-operated fire selector, the reversible ejection port and or charging handle. And now we're back to this. No ejection port, no selector. We have the fucking Krebs selector. It's Krebs. It's not activated with your thumb. There is nothing in here. Why have that when you can, I don't know, use your fucking trigger finger to do that? Also, wow, look at this. And new magazine design. Holy shit, you can actually use the magazine as a monopode. Holy shit, this definitely necessitates creating an entirely new model for the rifle. I mean, it's been there since 2008. We're back to 2008. Holy shit. Where have 7 years, 8 maybe, if I'm being generous, it's 7 years, it's lost to shit. It's just gone. This after testing failures on Ratnik contest, a different, more traditional assault rifle with the same name, which is an evolution of the 100 series, which uses some AK-12 some actual AK-12 parts, and it's mass produced since 2019, allegedly. I can't be sure. I cannot be sure, but so make it 10 years. We're 10 years back to this. Speaking of which, I forgot the name. I forgot the name. There was, like an expansion pack, like a fucking DLC for the assault rifle. Uh, I don't remember the name, but let's see. Oh, it's called Obvious, because of course. Let's play a game, spot the differences. Let's memorize the grip, the magazine, which is not an integral part of the rifle anyway, the stock, the Picatinny rail, the handguard, the new muzzle brake, or it's called a flash hider in there. We'll miss the grip and flashlight part out. The magazine, the grip, the stock, the handguard, in a different muzzle brake. Oh, it also has the grip. This is the AK-74. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the fold-in version or the solid stock version. Anyway, it's just a tactical conversion kit kind of thing. Also, it has a fucking Krebs safety lever, which isn't even mentioned here. This is the AK-74 modernized, tacticalized, and this is AK-200, which is fucking the same rifle. And this thing, oh, holy shit! Oh my god! And this thing is basically the same. Oh, it got a new grip, which actually has the trigger guard as part of it. Holy shit, that's an improvement. Oh, and a new stock, and it's also, it's also the newest version since the last time I checked. It's actually version of 2020, because 2020 is not shitty enough, and we actually have time and money to invest into this piece of shit. AK-19 is the same thing, but in 5.56 NATO, because we are going to sell this somewhere and make millions. I don't know. What else has changed? The same rails, the same handguard. This rail is removed, but it can be reattached. As far as AK-12 model in Payday shows, because in the left side there is no rail, and on the right there is a rail, which is used in game for mounting gadgets in game. So what changed? The grip and the stock, and nothing else. And it's a completely different new model version. Holy shit. This was 2016, and this one is 2012. It took us 4 years to change the fucking grip and the stock. Holy crap, where are we going? I hate it with every single cell in my body. Holy crap, like seriously, this is the evolution of the AK. This really gives me, Modern Warfare 2 vibes. Hot PNG? What the fuck is hot PNG? What does my image have to do with this? That's actually an older version. Okay, whatever. This one is, the airsoft AK with the tactical stuff on it, which was used apparently as a reference for Modern Warfare 2, because Modern Warfare 2 came out in 2009, which was around the same time when this shit appeared. And these pictures are from, I think it's from, yep, it's 2006. These fucking pictures. This is what was used as a reference for modeling. I mean, the same rail mount, the same crane stock, except it was textured like a Viltor stock. Except it lacks the folding grip part. The same sling mount. The same sling mount. It can be a coincidence. It's custom built. It's one of a kind, and it was featured in Modern Warfare 2 ultimately, which is cool. Anyway, well, basically, now you know why I'm so salty about the whole AK-12 debacle. Because this is how it started. Ambidextrous, ergonomic, and this is where we are now. We are back to the same rifle with a fucking Krebs safety lever and a new magazine which can be used as a monopod. Holy shit. The only good thing about this is the adjustable stock, because, well, that's one of my complaints about the original rifle. Anyway, I was talking about rails, and if this is actually supposed to be a regular army weapon, the rails in here and here, they are completely unnecessary, because we're just going to have iron sights and no grips, no reflex sights, no holographic sights, and so on and so forth. Because, you know, a reflex sight is too complicated for a peasant worker like in our regular army to handle. They are afraid of giving axes and shovels to us because we might break them. So this tactical rifle is unnecessary, completely unnecessary for a regular army. Maybe for special forces troops and all that, but you know, I would rather prefer something more ergonomic for these kinds of guys, because, well, what the fuck, seriously? What kind of failures did this thing? How could an AK fail something? I just don't know. I think that's completely made up, because this rifle is ultimately too awesome, too expensive to change production from these kinds of receivers into these kinds of receivers with, you know, openings on both sides and all that kind of sweet stuff. And we're just retool these things into more tactical ones, because that's a cheaper option. And this is why I'm salty about that. Kalashnikov probably turns in his coffin right now, seeing what the Kalashnikov concern does about all this. I mean, holy shit, this is so messed up. The man actually takes a special place in my heart because, well, there is a multitude of reasons, but one of the, I wouldn't say funny, but it's kind of interesting. On 9th of December in 2013, I was drafted for military service for a year, which I will never get back. Yeah, that was something I would rather not talk about. But anyway, on if I remember correctly, I should remember this correctly. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. On 22nd of December, I swore an oath or something, however it's called, to, you know, protect the motherland, the people and all that. Anyway, the next day we were informed that Mikhail Timofeyevich Kalashnikov had passed away. Well, this is one way to start your military service. Pretty funny actually, but well, anyway. And now they have merged Izhmech and Izhmash into Kalashnikov concern and do this. They're going backwards. They are running backwards, I would say, because, well, this rifle would be amazing in, you know, early 2000s, but not in 2012. Holy shit, this is so bad, this is so messed up. And I don't know. I hope you hate it as much as I do, because this is something I cannot stand. This is a fucking circus, you know. All these advertisement of an amazing rifle with full ambidextrity, ability to reload it with one hand when your other hand is occupied or injured. This was also a thing that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. It was misinterpreted, I think, by some journalists or something, because, you know, you could reload with your left hand or your right hand entirely, as opposed to, you know, switching the magazines with your left hand and then pulling the bolts with your right hand or something like that. Anyway, the most important part of this was full ambidexterity, the ergonomic firing mode selector, and safety, which can be operated with your thumb, an extended magazine release, a fucking bolt catch. A bolt catch is not a novelty. You know, a fucking Mauser C96, which, as you might have guessed, was developed in 1896, had a fucking bolt catch to be reloaded with a clip from the ejection port inside the fixed magazine of 10 rounds, and then you remove the clip and the bolt slams forward, ready to fire again. This is more than 100. I'm not sure if the Mauser was the first model to utilize the bolt catch, but it's probably not. Anyway, the bolt catch has been around for a while, and it's finally... Oh no, it's not finally. It's not here. It's still not there. The same goes for the thumb-operated selector. We have a Krebs-operated selector, for fuck's sake. I mean, look at this. Galil... Not Ace. Arm. I hope you're not hearing that. Okay, I'm not sure what happened, but I've just restarted Explorer exe, and well, I hope everything's okay, because the sound kinda froze for me and it was terrible. What was I talking about again? And well, I was going to find the original Galil arm. Let's make it Galil arm. Doesn't matter which model actually. We're just going to find a nice big picture of the Galil rifle. which might be this one. As you can see, this thing, this uh, 60s or 70s, it already has a selector switch here. Let's see a different picture. Let's just look for giant pictures like this. I need the left side. I need the left side. It's predominantly right side, but whatever. Please. Okay. Yep, as you can see, there is the selector, and it also continued the trend on the gully lace. As you can see, you can see. Thanks a lot. As you can see, it's still there. And the AK in 2020 does not have that. Because why? Why would anyone have that? We should have Krebs style safety lever as opposed to, you know, Galil style safety lever. Why have that when we have our own? I don't know, this is so terrible. One was the Galil designed 72 in service from 72. In 72 the AK variant already had a fucking thumb operated selector. Maybe it wasn't the best thumb operated selector, but it's something. And speaking of ROM ARM PSL rifle, 74. So this SVD Dragunov lookalike, it was designed by Romanians because they objected to invasion of, I don't remember, Czechoslovakia, yeah. So the Romanians refused to invade Czechoslovakia alongside the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union refused to, what's the word? Contract? No, not contract. License. Yeah, sharing technical information and exporting. Well, they refused to export and or license the Dragunov marksman rifles to the Romanians, so they kinda upscaled an AK, more of an RPK actually, because of this strengthened receiver. And this has all the good stuff from the Dragunov actually, except it's an AK, because, you know, the same safety lever that we've talked about for a lot, the same bolt, the same gas system and all that, the two-part handguard, which looks like the AK-47 prototype handguard, and a magazine which is of a slightly different design from a Dragunov, and the same goes for the stock. But these magazines actually push up their followers. They push up the bolt catch, which locks the bolt open when the last round is spent. So in 74 the AK versions already could have perfectly fine bolt catches and thumb operated safety levers. But in 2020 Russia has none of that. We have our own ways of improvement and all that. That's just terrible, and I hate it. This is going nowhere. This is just going to be a giant shit show, a fucking carnival of idiocy. So, yep, that's my opinion on the AK-12 project. It's no longer an AK-12. Let's say that AK-12 was cancelled, and the AK-100, which evolved into AK-200, which evolved into AK-400, while skipping the 300 for some reason. Or maybe it was done so that it wouldn't be confused with, you know, AK-308, 308. Maybe that was the reason. Anyway, what we have now is basically the evolution of the AK-200, which was made in 2008. We're 12 years late with our new rifle. We could have been 5 years late, but we decided we don't need that. It's too expensive, apparently. Most likely it was because it was too expensive. An AK which is too expensive, are you crazy? No. We're gonna make the same old shit, but with Picatinny rails and fucking Krebs style selector levers. Holy cow, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this country anymore. Seriously, this is so fucking messed up. This is how we do. This is, well, not we. I don't do that. This is how our government and the ministries, in this case, Minister of Defense, I mean, they have money for a fucking tank biathlon. I'm not sure if I'm pronounced it right. Biathlon. I'm not sure, but it's the same thing as, you know. But instead of skiing, we use tanks, and instead of 22 LR low caliber rifles, we use fucking tank guns. Imagine how expensive that is, and we don't have money to actually finalize the actual AK-12. I mean, how is that possible? Can we just not invest into tank biathlon and actually produce a good rifle for once? Nah? Thought so. Anyway, well, this is my position. Of course, somebody being a fucking patriot or something, a vatnik, I would say, would defend furiously the new and improved amazing AK-12 of 2020, because it's so amazing, it's so much better than, you know, also folding stocks. Folding stocks, yeah? How about the stocks used like on MP5 or this thing? I mean, look at this thing. I like how the stock is designed. It's a collapsible stock which collapses inside the gun. It doesn't fold. The folding stocks, they are while they make the rifle shorter when they are folded, they make it thicker. And this thing, it collapses inside the gun. I can probably find a collapsed one. This is a folding stock. This is an older version of AEK. And this is how it looks like when it's folded. It kind of turns upside down and collapses inside the rifle. And why can't we do that? Why should we milk Kalashnikov for the rest of our lives? Why can't we have best of both worlds? Let's make this kind of stock, this kind of balanced system. Maybe it's too expensive again. Maybe it's too complicated because you know everything that has more than two parts is too fucking complicated for the Russian army. Yep. This is why we can have good things. This is how basically Ratnik contest looked like. I'm not sure if there were anyone else's designs, but this AK-12, if this thing, well, if this thing had troubles, why do we even have AK right now? Was this thing worse than the AK-12? Why wasn't this one adopted instead? I don't understand. I don't understand this country. I just don't. This is where we are. We're using the rifle designed in 1974, but now we have a Krebs style selector, an M4 style stock, Picatinny rails, and a slightly redesigned front side gas block assembly. And a new muzzle brake, and a fucking new magazine. Holy cow, it's perfect in every way. Somebody kill me, please. This is so bad, man. This is terrible. I don't know. I don't know what else to add. What can I add? What can I possibly add to this car crash? To this catastrophe? Maybe I could go on and on about, you know, AK-74U being a pretty poor decision for a tank crew weapon because it's large, it's overpowered, and it's not powerful enough to, well, actually be worth it because it's basically the same. It has the same effective range and energy as the, you know, submachine guns or machine pistols. Why don't we have these for tank crews? Is this thing bad, terrible, too complicated? It doesn't look so. If you launch, you know, this weapon disassembly game, World of Guns, Guns Disassembly, you would see this thing has so little parts. It's probably the best variant of a PDW we could have because it is chambered in 9-on-19 parabellum sort of rounds, Luger, but it also can take overpressurized armor-piercing rounds. Yeah, armor-piercing round, designation 7N39. Well, why not? This is PDW. This is our MP7 basically. Why not? We also have, well, Cuparis, Cypress, which kinda looks like a slightly uglier Scorpion machine pistol. Why don't we use that for our tank crews? It's also too complicated, it's also too terrible, unreliable and all that. Well, don't get me started on this one. This is still as large as the AK and with even more terrible magazine, which, well, it's probably not too terrible when you need this kind of magazine, but it's an ass to load. It also has this funky top folding stock version, which is more desirable for compactness, which is my point of view because I'm a tank driver and I need compact weapons. But this magazine is overcomplicated for what this thing is. Whoa. You see this? How it's folded? Yep, it can also be tactical with a huge Cobra sight. And what else? This is a different gun of the same concept. And it can also accept the magazine adapter for the box mags, because you know these magazines are kind of awkward. What else is awkward is how it's chambered. This huge button over the barrel, you need to press the button which is right over the barrel. The barrel is probably hot and it actually can fire. This is the prototype, as you can see, and this is, well, apparently addresses the problem of the hot barrel because it has this step here, but it's still a terrible design choice. Anyway, what else do we have? We have Cypress, we have PP2000, we have Kedr. Uh, I'm not sure how it's... It also has those Scorpion vibes, and somebody told that that's the most terrible firearm they have ever handled. Well, it's blocky, it's kind of ugly. I don't know, it's probably serviceable because CIT guards, or whatever they are called, you know, the kind of guys that visit banks and grab money, and they are armed. Not robbers, not heisters, the kind of guys that have this as their job, to transfer money from place to place. CIT guards, I think. And why not? Why not have PP2000? I don't understand. Well, we also had the Stechkin pistol. You probably know that. It's basically a very large Makarov pistol, which can fire fully automatic and has this bulky ass holster stock, which is like, you know, Luger or Mauser kind of stock. Heavy, bulky and all that, not being too effective, being heavy and all that for a pistol. If that was a machine pistol with probably a front grip or something, a stock and whatever, it probably wouldn't be as terrible as the actual machine pistol, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't be sure. I'm not an operator or whatever. I'm just a guy who found his passion in firearms, and I get to complain all the time about these kinds of stuff that were not put into production, like the PMM, because, you know, what do I have? Let's start with the... Oh, okay, whatever. PM, basic, single stack, 8 rounds, very simple, basically the Kalashnikov of the pistol world. And then they decided to make it take well, overpressurized rounds of the same caliber, and increased its magazine size from 8 to 12 rounds, which was a nice improvement. But, you know, they were afraid that somebody would use overpressurized rounds in classic Makarov rounds firearms, like, you know, Stechkin, the original Makarov, and everything else, and it would cause catastrophic malfunctions and whatever. And this thing was not adopted, and so wasn't its ammunition. And now we have, you know, 9x19 overpressurized But because it's a foreign cartridge, we're not afraid of putting it into some Glocks, Berettas, and whatever. I think that was the rationale, because there is no other uh, explanation to the same old concept being resurrected, basically, and being in full bloom right now. This is my country, everyone. So now it's definitely all I have to say right now. I can't think of anything else to add. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this story? Maybe uh, I'm overreacting, but you know, I've lived in this country for a while, for all my life, basically for 25 years, and I know what's going on. And the AK-12 was cancelled because it was too awesome and too expensive, because they needed to spend money elsewhere, like tank biathlon and their houses, palaces, colleges of their children and whatnot, but not the good rifles. They don't care about the army, actually. Unfortunately, that's true, and you will never prove me wrong on this one. This is how it works in Russia, and probably everywhere else, but it's more notable here. Firstly, because I live here, and secondly, because they do a pretty poor job at hiding their agendas. So poor it's not funny anymore. It's crossed the line so many times. It's well, it's just this. Anyway, yeah, thanks for sticking with me. I hate the AK-400. I will never call it AK-12. At least, well, not without remembering the actual AK-12, which I had great hopes for, and it was ultimately and unsurprisingly shelved. So yeah, that's it. Hope my next video will be about something as opposed to some history and me being salty about a rifle program, but I hope that's clear now. If you have any more questions about this, I would answer that in the comment section, so don't be shy, don't be shy. Yeah, don't forget to tell me that's not a big deal, that's not my problem. I shouldn't be worried about that because they are smart guys, they know what to do and all that. And I don't know because I'm a sofa weapons expert and nobody else. So yeah, see you around in my next video. Thanks for watching.